if we made another remake movie, haha?
Uh-huh.
But this time, it's actually not a shot-for-shot remake.
Blasphemy.
We'll call it Snow White, but it will actually have nothing in common with Walt's 1937 Snow White.
What?
And then we'll make a bunch of money for doing no work, just because we used the name Snow White.
Oh, Mickey.
You all remember the hype around Star Wars Episode 7, The Force Awakens. It had been years since we had seen a Star Wars, and we heard that they were bringing back Mark Hamill and Harrison Ford. We paid enough for that movie that it stands today as the 5th highest grossing movie of all time. 2 hours after the opening monologue, we discovered it was the exact same plot as The Empire Strikes Back, which is generally regarded as the best Star Wars film ever made. It generated Hollywood enough money to buy your neighborhood and launch your mom's car into space. So they figured, let's do that 400,000 more times. They took advantage of modern parents' fond attachment to these classics as they brought their little ones to experience similar euphoria. However, each time these parents found themselves dissatisfied slightly more with each passing production. In 2023, Disney put forth a remake of the 1989 computer and hand-animated classic The Little Mermaid. For the remake, they cast the live-action actress of Ariel as a black individual. I am incapable of expressing any less partiality to this adjudicature. Race is not the defining characteristic of a human being. I might determine that the most cognitively courteous course of action would be to comprise my judgments of Hailey Bailey based on a cumulative analysis of her performance as an actress. And from what I hear from the YouTube comments, it actually wasn't that bad of a movie. Today, images have surfaced showing details of Disney's next rip-off remake, Snow White and the Seven Dwarves. This one is much different from The Little Mermaid. Firstly, it would have been much more satisfying had they waited 14 more years to make this movie, because that would be the 100-year anniversary of the classic. Alike to The Little Mermaid, Disney determined that they would cast a non-white actress to reprise the character, which was originally depicted as white. The difference between Snow White and Ariel is that Snow White is named this way because her skin tone was like especially white, somewhat like snow. Her race is actually somewhat of an identifying characteristic of her character. Rachel Zegler will be portraying the character in the remake. I have no doubt that she's a good actress, however it would seem as though her character is less Snow White and more of just a new character. Which do you think came first, Disney's The Seven Dwarves or Tolkien's Dwarves of Erebor? Trick question, The Hobbit and Snow White and The Seven Dwarves were both released in 1937. Throughout the history of Tolkien movies, dwarves and hobbits have never been primarily portrayed by actors with dwarfism. However, in scale shots, Peter Jackson would often employ such actors in order to make the rest of the fellowship appear taller. Actors with dwarfism haven't supremely suffered in pursuit of acting careers, as far as I know. Martin Kleba killed it in his role in Pirates of the Caribbean, and Peter Dinklage literally played a giant in Endgame, which I thought was awesome. And a remake of Snow White and the Seven Dwarves, you would think might be an opportunity for 7 actors with dwarfism to play a role that actually fits them perfectly. Not so. In leaked images, we see the dwarves being played by it looks like one dwarf. However, Willard expressed what he found unsatisfactory about this lineup.
It's a bad thing. You're replacing jobs that people could have as little people. Okay. Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, it's 4 dwarfs.
It's that this is a rare role for actors with dwarfism that would actually be perfect for. Furthermore, one of the dwarves is a woman. I'm sure this actress is very good at what she does. However, the 7 dwarves are the boys. There's one casting decision that's actually spot on. Gal Gadot will be portraying the evil queen, which is perfect because she's like 8 feet tall. There's nothing inherently wrong with this group of actors and actresses. However, they are very plainly just not Snow White and the 7 dwarves. Rachel Zegler gave us a sneak peek of the plot of this movie and explained that Snow White will not be saved by no prince.
It's no longer 1937. We absolutely wrote a Snow White that is
not going to be saved by the prince.
She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love.
Which is fine. I'm sure you can write a good story where Snow White is in need of a prince to rescue her. But by definition, it's just not the plot of Snow White. Disney is throwing out most of what made Snow White Snow White. No one is saying that some actors have more of a right to make a living as an actor than actors who have been cast for the Snow White movie. No one is saying that there's something wrong with having a new story. But by definition, it is simply not Snow White. The call to action, don't call it Snow White. Just call it as I do. The new, not Snow White.